Hi, my name is Megan, and today I'm going to talk about grapes, in particular, wild grapes that grow in Sonoma County. So it's early October and harvest time in Sonoma County. People are working in the wine industry, and they're really busy this time of year. It's common to see exhausted folks with purple stained hands and lined at coffee shops. Uh, it's a very busy and happy time of year in Sonoma County. Um, the native grape plant in California is also in full fruit right now. Every year I usually taste a few fruits that I see at plants near the Sebastopol Community Center, and this year, which is 2021, they are bigger and sweeter than ever. I'm going to show you a few here. I mean, look at this. Wild grapes. So the scientific name for this beautiful plant is Vitis Californica, and it is dioecious, which is a word I had to look up. It means that there are male and female parts of the plant. This I thought was really cool because most cultivated varieties of grapes, maybe all, are self-fruitful, meaning they have male and female parts on each plant, which people often talk about because it means they don't need pollinators or bees to help produce fruit. But these plants do. These plants need pollinators, and actually the flowers of these plants are a favorite for bees. So wild grape varieties all over Northern California exist. This is just one variety, and many have deep traditional uses by indigenous groups, and archaeological records show that they've been an important part of indigenous food source for maybe 10,000 years. Fresh and dried grapes were used for food. They were used for medicine, especially digestive health and women's health. And they were also used in ceremony, especially weddings or fertility ceremonies. The wood from the plant was used to make cords and baskets, and the leaves were boiled and used for food wrappings, probably just as they are in Greece, used to make things like dolmas. If you've ever sucked or chewed on a grape seed, you know that they're super bitter. The extract from grape seeds is a powerful antioxidant and is used as antimicrobial, and it's also recognized in modern medicine as being useful in healing wounds, treating heart disease, preventing cancer, and also preventing cognitive decline. Wild grapes are featured on the cover of one of my favorite books. It's called Enough for All, by Kathleen Rose Smith, and she is a local woman with ancestors in our local Dry Creek, Pomo, and Bodega Miwok tribes. Wild grapes also have been a symbol of indigenous sovereignty, so a food that tribes could lift up when European foods and culture were being pushed on them by colonial rule. It's been interesting for me to observe how grapes grow naturally. We usually see them in rows in vineyards, very neat and tidy, angular rows, all kind of strung up on posts. But in nature, that's not what happens. We've enforced such a strong structures on how most of our food is grown and cultivated that we often lose track of how these plants and animals would grow if they had the choice. So it's kind of fun to see the grape plants at the Sebastopol Community Center, and they rely on things like trees and fences for structure to grow on, because grapes on their own it's hard for them to naturally grow a trunk. And these vines stretch really high up, 30 feet in some places, it looks like, by my estimate. And it's interesting to note that in ancient times, grape plants were also cultivated in a similar way. They were often planted next to trees where the vines could grow and climb up. And I read somewhere that harvest could be sometimes a dangerous business because they would have to have tall ladders reaching up really big distances for people to harvest and collect the fruit. I read that in some places like Portugal, northern Portugal, grapes are kind of still grown in this way. They grow what they call a hanged vineyard. And when I read about it, it reminded me of a Three Sisters plant guild, like the one Native Americans used to grow corn, beans, and squash in a symbiotic way. In this grape guild, farmers grow trees that act as structures for the grapes to grow on. And then underneath, they will often grow a third crop like cabbages in this picture, or they will allow wild animals like sheep or goats to forage and then thereby fertilize the soil. If grapes are grown in healthy soils, they can grow to be over 100 years old. Some vineyards in Sonoma and Napa counties actually care for their plants, assuming that they'll have a long, healthy life. When I was in southern France recently, I actually met a grape plant that was 175 years old. She had a thick, beautiful trunk and was growing at least 10 feet high up this kind of fence arbor thing. And it notes on this sign, you'll see if you translate from French into English, that this is a sacred plant. And that's common. Grapes in most cultures are seen as sacred plants. At most local vineyards here in Sonoma County, though, grape plants are productive for maybe 15 to 25 years. That's how long their lifespan is. This is largely because they're being grown on dead soils, so soils with little organic matter, little life, little amounts of microbes and the beneficial things that help plants stay healthy. Many of the pesticides used on grape plants hurt the plant's natural immunity and the life and health of the soil. Also, some of the cultivation methods used on local grapes also hurt the soil. For example, when all of the weeds are sprayed and killed, then the soil has nothing to keep it together, so it runs right off the vineyards. And that's why a lot of the soil in conventional vineyards in Sonoma County is really dead. When the plants are no longer able to perform, so they're not producing enough grapes, they're pulled out and the soil is disinfected, which means it's sprayed again with pesticides, often heavy fungicides and fumigants, before the new crop with the baby grape plants can be put in. Over 2 million pounds of agricultural pesticides are used in Sonoma County's grape crop every year. With 99% of Sonoma County's vineyards also being certified sustainable, it's easy to see that sustainable grapes and the wine that's made from them does not mean it's anywhere near close to being organic. But I'll talk more about conventional grape growing in another video. Right now, I just want to really revel with you in the beauty, the wonder, and the taste of these delicious 2021 vintage fresh wild grapes, certified officially as life-giving by Mother Nature herself. I plan on slowly eating a few and then pressing the rest to make a delicious, thick ambrosia that will stay in my mind for the rest of the year. Thank you.